Welcome to this week's discussion about some particularity of Ezekiel. So this week I'd like to actually introduce you to a fascinating little tidbit, at least it's of interest to me, from Ezekiel chapter 9. So I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 9. I'm reading from the NIV, the 2011 NIV. And then we'll note a key word that opens up just a fascinating aside that also speaks into other parts of the canon. So let me go ahead and read Ezekiel 9. Then I heard him call out in a loud voice. Now this is one who is bringing judgment on Jerusalem. Bring near those who are appointed to execute judgment on the city, each with a weapon in his hand. And I saw 6 men coming from the direction of the upper gate, which faces north, each with a deadly weapon in his hand. With them was a man clothed in linen who had a writing kit at his side. Now, the clothed in linen, I should just mention, is oftentimes associated with priestly garments or the specificity of one who is carrying out some sort of priestly duties. So he has a writing kit at his side. And they came in and stood beside the bronze altar. Verse 3, Now the glory of the God of Israel went up from above the cherubim where it had been, and moved to the threshold of the temple. Then Yahweh called to the man clothed in linen who had the writing kit at his side, and he said, Go throughout the city of Jerusalem and put a mark on the foreheads of those who grieve and lament over all the detestable things that are done in it. And as I listened, he said to the others, Follow him through the city and kill without showing pity or compassion. Slaughter the old men, the young men and women, the mothers and children, but do not touch anyone who has the mark. Begin at my sanctuary. So they began with the old men who were in front of the temple. Then he said to them, Defile the temple and fill the courts with the slain. Go! So they went out and began killing throughout the city. While they were killing, and I was left alone, I fell face down, crying out, Alas, sovereign Yahweh, are you going to destroy the entire remnant of Israel in this outpouring of your wrath on Jerusalem? And he answered me, The sin of the people of Israel and Judah is exceedingly great. The land is full of bloodshed, and the city is full of injustice. They say, Yahweh has forsaken the land, Yahweh does not see. So I will not look on them with pity or spare them, but I will bring down on their own heads what they have done. Then the man in linen with the writing kit at his side brought back word saying, I've done as you commanded. So I've highlighted this word, put a mark on the foreheads. You'll note that in this sort of apocalyptic type scene where Ezekiel has been transported to the temple in Jerusalem, though he remains in exile in far off Babylon, he is seeing a divine judgment about to be carried out, but first the Lord wants to indicate those who will be protected. Those who in fact are troubled over the evil, who grieve and lament over all of the evil being done. And the 6 are supposed to follow, and anyone who's not marked is supposed to be slaughtered regardless of their, whether their age, their gender, anything like this, beginning at the sanctuary. And then Ezekiel realizes maybe no one will be left. Maybe no one will be left. This word mark, literally in the Hebrew, is put a tav, which is the final letter of the Hebrew alphabet, a tav. Now, just to show you, this is a fascinating aside. I don't want you to make too much of it, as many internet preachers like to do. But I'm just going to show you, this is a Wikipedia page, nothing special. But noticing these are early forms of the Tav, and it is believed to actually be an Egyptian hieroglyph. I know this is not a scholarly source. I don't mean it to be that. But it's an easy description that can show what we're talking about. The idea was that the earliest Tav was simply an indicator of like a tally mark. This one belongs, this one belongs, this one belongs, or something like this, or to count. And in this case, as opposed to the modern Hebrew form that is indicated up here, the forms of ancient Tav, particularly the Paleo-Hebrew that would have been at the time of exile, is like an X. It's a crossed beam. It's an X of sorts. It's just fascinating that X does mark the spot of those who in fact would be faithful. In some sense they are crossed as sealed to be protected by Yahweh in the coming judgment. This, of course, will be picked up in the book of the Revelation, that never directly quotes the Old Testament, but always and again alludes to, draws from, and lives in the world and language of the Old Testament. In chapter 7, when the 144,000 are sealed, it is their heads that are marked, their foreheads that are marked to bear the seal or the mark of the Lord and of the Lamb, as protected from harm. Again, this is living very much in the text of Ezekiel chapter 9 that we have just looked at, where those who belong to the Lord by their grieving over sin and depravity, even among the Lord's people, are those who will be kept from the trouble by him. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, maybe something that the Lord provokes in you as you reflect on Ezekiel chapter 9 and chapters 9 through 11 as part of our weekly reading.